This isn't a story about talent. It's about trust. The parable of the talents gets quoted everywhere, but it's often misunderstood. People think it's about natural skills, or that God favors the already successful. Others hear it and imagine a harsh master. That misses the heart of what Jesus was saying. Here's why it matters. Jesus told this parable to show what life in God's kingdom looks like while we wait for his return. It's about responsibility, courage, and the kind of faith that moves. Let's break it down. 1. The background, context. The story comes from Matthew 25:14-30. It's part of Jesus' teaching near the end of his ministry, when he was preparing his followers for life after his departure. He uses a familiar scene. A wealthy man goes on a long trip. He entrusts his servants, not household helpers but estate managers, with his property. A talent wasn't a skill. It was a massive unit of money, roughly 20 years of wages for a worker. 1 talent equals decades of pay. Even the servant with 1 talent received a fortune. In that world, wealthy landowners expected their managers to use money, not bury it. Trade, lending, and investing were normal. Banks existed, and a basic deposit could earn interest. Playing it safe by burying cash wasn't seen as wise. It was wasteful. Jesus set up the parable with a cultural twist. The master isn't asking for miracles. He's asking for faithful use. The point isn't how much each servant starts with, but what they do with what they're given. 2. The conflict key events. A man goes on a journey. He calls 3 servants and hands over his wealth. To one, he gives 5 talents. To another, 2. To the last, 1. Each according to his ability. He knows them. He isn't unfair. He's wise. The one with 5 goes at once, trades, and doubles it. The one with 2 does the same. Both act, both risk, both grow what they're given. But the one with 1 talent digs a hole and hides the money. He avoids risk. He avoids responsibility. He does nothing. After a long time, the master returns and settles accounts. The first 2 step forward with results. Master, you entrusted me with 5. See, I've gained 5 more. The second, with 2, says the same. The master's response is famous. Well done, good and faithful servant. He praises their character before their profit. Then he promotes them. You've been faithful with little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Faithfulness leads to more trust and deeper joy. Then the third servant speaks. He starts with an excuse, not results. I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown. I was afraid. So I hid your talent in the ground. Notice the shift. He blames the master's character to justify his inaction. He calls fear wisdom. He confuses safety with obedience. The master answers with a sharp truth. If you knew I expected a return, you should have at least put my money in the bank. His point. Your own words condemn you. You didn't act from fear. You chose not to act. That's not caution. That's unfaithfulness. The 1 talent is taken and given to the servant with 10. Then the third servant, called wicked and slothful, is thrown out into the darkness. It's a hard ending, and Jesus meant it to be. 3. The meaning in Jesus' time. So what was Jesus teaching his first listeners? First, the master represents God, and the journey points to Jesus' departure and return. He entrusts his people with his work, his resources, and his message. Second, the talents symbolize everything God gives: opportunities, responsibilities, influence, resources, and yes, the gospel itself. The amounts are different, but the expectation is the same: faithful use. Third, the contrast isn't between success and failure. It's between faithfulness and fear. The first 2 servants moved in trust. The third servant froze, then hid behind a false picture of the master. When the third servant says, "You're a hard man." The master doesn't confirm that picture. He exposes it. The servant's view of the master shaped his actions. If you believe God is unfair, distant, or eager to catch you failing, you'll bury your life. This parable sits between the story of the 10 virgins and the separation of the sheep and goats. The theme is readiness. Real readiness isn't passive waiting. It's active stewardship. The kingdom grows as servants use what they've received to bless, build, and multiply. Finally, the judgment is serious because the stakes are eternal. To refuse the master's trust is to refuse the master himself. The joy promised to the faithful is more than a pat on the back. It's sharing in the very life and celebration of God. 4. What it means today. This isn't a motivational speech about hustle. It's a spiritual wake-up call. Your life is a trust. Everything you have is on loan from God. Time, abilities, relationships, resources, even your story. He doesn't ask you to be someone else. He asks you to be faithful with what you have, where you are. Faith takes action. It prays, plans, and then steps. It starts small and keeps going. It looks for ways to multiply good. People helped, truth shared, beauty created, justice pursued, disciples formed. Fear buries. It waits for perfect conditions. It hides behind excuses. It calls the master hard and the world too risky. Don't compare your portion with someone else's. The master didn't compare either servant who doubled. He honored them equally. Faithfulness, not size, is the measure. Also notice the simple option the third servant ignored. You could have put it in the bank. Not everyone is called to dramatic risk. But everyone can take the next faithful step. There is always a way to move forward. If you're a student, your talent might be time and attention. Use it to learn deeply and serve generously. If you work a job, your talent includes your integrity and influence. Use it to build trust and lift others. If you lead, your talent is people. Invest in them. Money matters too. We're not told to hoard it or despise it, but to steward it. Give, save wisely, and invest in God's purposes. When resources grow, so does your capacity to bless. And don't forget the gospel. The good news multiplies when shared. The greatest return in the kingdom is lives changed by Jesus. Here are 3 quick takeaways. God owns everything. We manage what He entrusts. Faith acts, fear hides. Only one of those pleases the Master. Start where you are. Small faithfulness grows into greater responsibility and deeper joy. If you've been bearing your talent, it's not too late. Dig it up. Offer it back to God. Ask, what's my next faithful step? Then take it. If you've been investing and feel unseen, listen to the Master's words in advance. Well done, good and faithful servant. He notices. He rewards. Enter His joy. 5. The big lesson in one line. So what is the parable of the talents? A warning and a promise. God entrusts us with His gifts, and real faith doesn't bury them. It puts them to work until the Master returns.